Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Hope you're good. I hope you're hanging out or hanging in, or I hope that you're feeling fine. In this, uh, last year, 2020, and even now, with beginning of 2021, pandemic is here, and sometimes we all feel isolated. Isolated. You're alone. You're in isolation, maybe you are doing what you're doing but don't have much connection with other people and whatnot. But through the media, through everything, we often heard is like, if you love your family, your parents, grandparents, don't visit them if you do not have to. Don't check on too much on them, like personally, just call, check with the phone, with the Skype, Zoom, whatnot. One of the companies that's doing something that can help you to even check on them on the smart level, let's say it like that, is a company called silvermonitor, which actually monitors certain things over the smartwatch. It's not a smartwatch per se, it's a smart device. Tihana Petricevic is founder of this amazing startup. She's here today in this episode that we're gonna have. She's gonna talk how the idea came about, what she been doing all this time, what achievements happened or are going to happen. So I invite you to check this interesting talk with silvermonitor founder Tihana Petricevic, because one day we all gonna be in that space and place of silver years. And if there is a technology that can help us or help our loved ones to check upon us, to monitor what's happening, and to be at ease with our health, with their health, if you're checking upon them, I think it's really interesting. Stay tuned, listen to Startup Rant, another cool episode, and enjoy. Of course, check all the links that are gonna be there. See if this is something that can work for you, and see is there anything that you wanna ask, contribute, connect. Let's make a world a better place. Startup Rant. Hello, hello. We're recording right now, and we have Tihana Petricevic here, interesting guest, because we had some issues with connecting at first, because this is new normal right now. Everybody has connection issues and background issues or whatnot issues. But how are you, Tihana?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks for asking, and thanks for inviting me in your show, Startup Rank. I will briefly introduce myself. My name is Tihana Petricevic, and I am CEO and co-founder of Silver Technologies. It's a healthcare startup based in Zagreb, Croatia. And once more, thanks for inviting me.
So you have said something like health startup, because what I did in the intro, I said that your company is called Silver Monitor, and right now, in the past few months, there was like kind of GME, whatnot, Wall Street predictions and manipulations, and the Silver Monitor it's not application to monitor how much the price of silver goes up and down. It's actually something in health.
Yeah, we're not in commodities in that way, so we are not doing something which is currently exploring opportunities of investing in silver, gold, and copper and stuff like that. Actually, we are, to be more precise, focused on silver economy. So we are actually developing products, high-tech products, intended for senior citizens. And our product is called SilverMonitor. And to be more exact, we are developing a smartwatch and web application for senior healthcare and safety monitoring. And we are currently at scale up phase. We received our first investments. We had pretty good year one and year two, and now we're looking for new opportunities. That's basically an intro of what are we actually doing.
And it's interesting because when you look at it right now, people will always think about, oh, I'm going to invest in this and that commodity, or this and that, a Bitcoin, this coin, or whatnot, or this stock, that stock, to help me when I get old. But right now, nobody is actually thinking like, what can I do to invest in a way, quote unquote, uh, in my parents or my grandparents or something like that, that I can actually, and that's why I said quote unquote invest, is actually due to pandemic. We cannot just maybe go to them to check upon them, to call them every day. There is another way of investing, and that's actually to provide something that can, which is in your name as well, monitoring what's happening there. Is this kind of something that can help all of us to like be at ease with our family members right now?
Well, actually, yeah. We're working on this before COVID pandemic, and now when COVID started, just things exploded in a completely, new perspective, and all these kind of problems that we initially anticipated when we done research and preparations for product development kind of escalated. And actually, we are now even more convinced that what we are doing is actually the right thing to do, and one of the possible ways to solve all these issues between seniors and their families, because they cannot be exposed risk and additional human contact. So we are actually creating something that provides professional and affordable healthcare and safety monitoring for seniors. So basically what we have is a smartwatch which is intended for seniors to wear, which collects specific sets of data which is relevant for that age group. For instance, it has a capacity to monitor blood pressure, heart rate, activity, location, fall detection. So it collects all that data and enables whoever has our web application to see remotely what's happening with that person. That someone is usually a caretaker. It can be a family member, or it can be some kind of professional, like healthcare professional or a senior home professional. So people who provide care. So basically, if you have a family member who lives now in a different town and is living remotely from you, and you have difficulty accessing them in any way, you can always go through our web application and see what's happening with that person in real time. So if someone has fallen, you can see if your grandparent has fallen. Or for instance, if they have heart issue or some kind of blood pressure issue. Or for instance, if there is a senior member who has an Alzheimer's, so they tend to wander off from get, you can see where it is, so you can pinpoint the location of the person. So actually that is
Yeah, Tihana, sorry for this, but as this new normal, I just lost you for the last 30 seconds or something. Can you just repeat that part from how we can actually monitor our senior elders, or something like that? Yeah,
okay. So
I think
strike two.
yeah,
Okay.
strike two. Yeah, I'm not gonna edit this because this is like the new normal. We need to get used to this, because this is how you communicate right now. This is how we kind of give the message to the world. And what you said is really interesting, because if you hear me right now, everything is fine from my side. But we lost you, like you were saying that I'm just gonna reiterate. I'm gonna repeat what you said. It's kind of a, you have this application. It's on the smartwatch, and we can monitor what's happening with our dearly ones. We can actually monitor what's happening with their blood pressure. We can monitor what's happening where they are. We can monitor all this kind of a data. So, and in this kind of point, it's kind of fuzzy with the video, but I think we get the picture what can actually be monitored and what we can actually achieve with this. Is this shareable? Is this like if I see that my mother, because I'm in Zagreb, my mother is slavonskibrod, because we're in Croatia, or I'm in New York, and my parents or grandparents in Amsterdam or whatnot, can I just like it's kind of limited right now option to go to doctor. The pandemic is wearing off, everything is fine, but still, if they don't need to go to, they don't need to go for every single stuff. But if I see something is happening there, and maybe they're not so uh, um, technological literate, and I say to my mom, listen, I see that there is kind of a problem with the blood pressure, there is some kind of problem with sugar or whatnot. Can I just like share that data with my doctor, or her doctor, or institution that's helping in this kind of a thing right now, or it's something in the future that will come, because that's interesting.
Well, this particular product development stage, of course, these values can be shared with the healthcare professionals. However, we are not medical device and we are not developing medical devices and medical software. Therefore, it cannot be used as some kind of tool for medical diagnostics.
Yeah.
But it's definitely very informative, and it will show you a lot more information about what's happening to that specific person, your family member, than ever before. So we have large databases, sets of data, which are all encrypted on safe servers stored. And it can be accessed at any time by a family member or a healthcare professional if they are provided with access to it. Okay, so let me just
Yeah.
one more time briefly explain what we
Yeah,
do, because
please.
sometimes I do this, 24/7. I'm constantly in it, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
you
to,
have this kind of know-how
yeah,
that can
yeah,
be a little bit like a cage because you
yeah,
know where the bars are, but for people outside they're like,
okay.
okay, so I can do this and that, and then you say no, no, no. So please, just excellent.
Okay,
Thank you.
so once more from the beginning, Silver
Yeah.
Monitor, it's a system. It consists of a smartwatch and a web application. Smartwatch is intended for seniors, and it works completely independently. It has its own SIM card, and it's basically mobile device on its own. It requires no mobile phone, mobile apps, downloading, no integrating, nothing. It works completely autonomously, and it monitors data automatically every 15 minutes. So
So
basically,
so it's kind of
anything,
sorry to interrupt. It's kind of like plug and play. Just yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Basically, all what seniors have to do is wear it and press a button in a case of an emergency, or if they want to measure their blood pressure or heart rate or something like that. So it's very, very simplified, and it's designed specifically for the use of senior citizens. And in that way, it's very, very, very simplified for them. So that's for the seniors. Then we have the other part of the product. It's a web application. It's a software which is intended for family members and caretakers. So
Mm-hmm.
whoever is a caretaker of that senior can use our web application and see anywhere in the world in a real time what's happening with that specific senior family member or whoever. Yeah. So you don't have to be connected to that device. You just kind of take our application and get access to that anywhere in the world. So that's the beauty of it. It works
That's so cool.
totally independently. And in that way, we've created something that can be very, very useful, especially now in this time of pandemics, when
Yeah.
people are kind of in a new reality and they cannot visit their family members as often as they would.
Not just they, not just that they cannot visit. Like I cannot visit. Nobody can visit because even on the TV, people are saying like, you will have this commercial saying like, if you care for your elderly, do not visit
You,
them,
you don't,
which
yeah,
is
you
which
don't
is
visit them, yeah.
which is like totally opposite what we were hearing all the time when we were kids. Like, yeah, you love your grandparents, you need to go there, and you take some time with them. And right now it's like, no, if you love your nana, don't go near her. Which is like, but let's just skip to this. What you're doing right now, is this like a free to buy, like I just can go to the shop and buy this, or there is like kind of at this stage of progress in your startup, is this like just for the senior homes or something like that? How do you deploy this to the world right now?
So currently we don't have yet a commercially available product. We have a beta version which we have sold to a smaller number of clients. But we are working very hard to make it available, commercially available to a wider population. I have to say that we're primarily at this stage oriented for B2B. So we are kind of selling this to institutions that provide senior care, like general care practices, nursery homes, or it can be access to through the which sell medical and medical. Uh,
Okay, so in a way, when you think about this, what you're doing every day, someone could say, wow, that's a cool startup. People might think like, from the startup point perception, they're like, there's kind of become software, but you're actually working with the hardware. How hard that is to work with actual hardware that you have. You don't like just like there's magic box and you take the hardware outside. You, especially this with pandemic, you have to order that from somewhere, you have to assemble that somewhere. How that goes, how this process, is it real difficult right now due to pandemic and everything, or maybe not, I don't know. It's interesting right now to me.
Okay, so so when you have a model which is based on hardware, it definitely complicates things to a certain, and the complications usually mean more expenses. So there is a reason why hardware is called hard. Uh, so it has a million of different things that you have to consider while doing product development, and a lot of other things that you need to consider. And when you talk about logistics, distribution, certification, so that definitely complicates things more than you're just doing the software. You create a software, you upload it to Google Play or App Store, and pretty much when they do kind of go through all necessary checks, the things are pretty much okay, and you can start selling or exposing your product to your customers. But with hardware, when you have something tangible, especially something which is in category of healthcare, health fitness products, then you have a lot of more work to be done. Regarding your second question about the manufacturing, so currently our manufacturer is of course in China, and that is pretty much standard for this type of products. But during the pandemic, of course, we had to rethink certain things. How are we going to kind of change something regarding our supplier? Are we going to transport certain of our manufacturing facilities here in Europe or somewhere else? At the time being, considering that we are not in a phase of commercialization, so we're not starting large volumes of our products, manufacturing facilities are still in China, and we have still pretty good deals with specific manufacturers. So At the moment, I could say we didn't have any significant issues, but in the future, we'll definitely have to rethink certain things. That's an inevitable part when doing business with hardware and manufacturing.
And when you look from the point of the startup, especially when you want to pitch this, which is interesting as in the health sector, and Croatia right now maybe doesn't have so many VCs or whatnot. How do you deal with that? How your first steps, your baby steps in the startup world, how how were they? Are you happy with them, or it was like really struggling, or because from the idea to the point that you actually have to somebody um, commit to this or invest to this, it's really because as a co-founder of a startup, I know that's not just easy. And my startup is actually just software. You're even hardware, so I can see many obstacles that you might have to already before the even initial pitching to go by. Like I'm just gonna either pretend they're I don't know about it. So when they ask me, I will check about it, or you already have a like kind of research about it. So for all the startups here in Croatia and the surrounding areas, because we are a small country, not many VCs are just shelling out the money here. So when you go and talk to somebody, angel investors or whatnot, how did you prepare for that? How did you start your journey on this kind of path? I'm just ranting right now, but
Okay.
you understand.
So basically, when we talk about our companies, so companies bootstraps, invested our own money. We actually received a couple of startup awards
Cool.
and grants, which enable us to cover certain aspects of our product development. We've done the pilot testing. So we did the best we could with what we had available. Regarding Croatian startup ecosystem, so I've been in the startup world for a while now. I can say that there is definitely more opportunities than it was before. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, things are definitely changing for the better. However, whenever you have something which is connected to hardware, some kind of it's kind of like a label like on that startup, like
Yeah.
don't touch that. When investors heard word hardware, they won't want to have anything to do with you. So that's definitely something that is not going in our favor. However, we nevertheless we decided to pursue this, and we think that when you have a hardware business, in a long run, it's a business that it is more sustainable, in a way that it has certain longevity. Once you kind of position yourself to the certain point, to the certain level, then you can have much stable business. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe to a certain extent, I'm kind of.
You're a believer in what you're doing.
Yes, definitely.
You cannot,
I believe. Yeah.
be wrong. You cannot be wrong. You can be wrong after everything fails. But I've been in your office and see the product. It's there.
Yeah, it's there. It's live and it's kicking. We have a technology and we've tested it. It works, and we are definitely pursuing this till the end. However, yes, the truth is, when you say you have a hardware startup or a startup which is based on hardware, investors will kind of tend to avoid. But I think we have a good thing here. I would think we have a product which actually solves a lot of issues which are now especially visible during this COVID pandemic. And we have something which is specifically targeted for a population which is not usually considered when we talk about high technologies and applications of high technologies. So I think we had there something is cooking, something good is coming. And as you said, I'm a believer, and I think that we will succeed to receive our first investment sooner or later.
And when you think about it, like we are not getting younger, we are getting older, and we need a checkup here and there. And if I can use your device and all the, I don't know, software advancement that will come in the years to come, I would rather like be uh, on a line, let's say it like that, on a line with what's happening with me every day, and I just go to the doctor and say like, oh, you now go to here and there, and then oh, you have a blood pressure. Like, well, I already know that it's on my wristwatch right now, or something. And tell me right now, in this kind of hardware space, because there were kind of in United States of America, which is like startup nation, the whole like startup nations, were like Israel or whatnot. They're like pouring all that money, and there was some kind of hardware startups in the VR creating all this kind of stuff that's crazy. But uh, when you go for a pitching or something like that, do you see, you said it's hard, there is a label, but when you start to pitch, is there some kind of a already misconception what's happening in the world, in the health sector, or you can actually see right now due to pandemic, due to everything, or maybe not due to pandemic, but just with the general health care, that there is a window for startups from Croatia who are working in the health sector that can succeed?
Well, I think when you get to a certain stage, when you have certain metrics, certain numbers, which investors find interesting, they will give you a chance, regardless of part of the world you're coming from. But definitely, it's much harder to kind of reach them while you're at the early stage. When you talk about the American ecosystem, startup ecosystem, then I have to tell you, I have a brief experience visiting America, and it's a completely different world. So their culture is entrepreneurial culture. They have different aspects of evaluating companies while investing. They have much more capital present in their ecosystem. Actually, they have VC funds which are, specifically focused for a specific industry.
Yeah.
As you said, some just invest in fintech, some just invest in healthcare, some just invest in gaming industry. So we don't have that kind of diversity in Croatia. We don't have that amount of capital in Croatia, which of course, makes it more difficult. However, you have very good examples of Croatian startups like Infobip, who received their investment from American VC fund, and currently one of, I think it's officially first Croatian unicorn. So things can happen. There's definitely some kind of, positivity in the air when you see companies like that succeeding, competing with much larger companies and competitors, and it makes me proud. So things are definitely improving. However, I think there is a lot of place for different adjustments and improvements. I think we should definitely keep on working on developing Croatian ecosystem. Yes.
Yeah, and you do not just stop on that. Let's go just pitch to this what I have here. You actually pitch to the other companies, and you're working with the other companies. You mentioned one big company from Croatia right now. Is there a kind of connection that you could have in the future, or you already have? Like, you
Well,
said there is a SIM card in your
yeah,
in your hardware. Yeah.
so basically, we during our first year, we already had supporters from the industry. So big companies like General Electric's healthcare, also like Infobip. So these are like players in the industries, and they kind of recognize the value in what we're actually building and what we are trying to create. So they supported us some with money, some indirectly with equipment necessary for our product development. So in a way, we did receive their support, and hopefully in the future we will continue our collaboration. Yes.
That's so cool because what I'm trying to do with this podcast is just to explain to people. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's of course it's important, but it also matters to like reach out the tentacles, like let's say like that, and reach out to the companies around you and see how you can actually collaborate, how you can actually work together. So one question that I have for you right now: how usual, because this is important, I think. Well, it's important for me from the perspective of 2 years ago. If I knew this and some information that I know now, it will be a different approach to pitching and things like that. So, how usually do you prepare for pitching, for meetings with VCs? Do you like, especially for Croatians, like we have Nikola Tesla, we have all these kind of people that help the world be a better place, but we are a little bit shy. It's like, oh, and I'm not working with this, I'm not working with that, this is what I do. But when you prepare for the pitching, you want to be the best of yourself. Do you like go all and but with all connections that you have and the supporting, or you just like, they didn't confirm just yet, I'm just gonna like, you know how long do you usually prepare for pitch? What do you consider a good pitch? Because you've been on there, you've been presenting, I know on some pitches alongside with me, on some competitions as well, and I know the rewards and grants that you got. It's beautiful. And how do you prepare for that? Like,
Okay, so when we talk specifically about the pitching, the pitch itself, I have to say that we have pretty good results in that particular area. So actually, our products, our team, and our concept received several awards, including audience award, especially for the pitch itself. Like the way the pitch was done. I would definitely say that the pitch is one of the important things that you need to clarify when you approach investors, when you approach your potential clients, and it requires definitely a work and preparation. So basically, I can tell you how I prepare for that. And so basically, you
yeah,
have
okay.
the structure of the pitch, which is required for that particular
Mm-hmm.
event or that particular investor. You have certain time frame in which you need to say everything that is important about who you are, what you do, what are your plans for the future, how you plan to make money, and what are your results. And based on how you structure your pitch in that particular time frame, how well do you connect, and afterwards how well do you answer all questions from the investors, you will be kind of invited for a next round of
Mm-hmm.
negotiations,
Yeah.
or will be invited potentially for an investment round. And so basically what I do is I sketch on a paper the words, the keywords, and around that I build a narrative. And then I practice the timeline. So you have 3 minutes to say what you need to say. So you need to be very focused, well, very clear, and you need to kind of show a certain passion about what you're doing, what you're creating. Because if you don't have that kind of, how should I say, spark, investors are going to be bored because they hear like thousands of pitches
Yeah.
per event.
Yeah.
And, if you don't bring something to the table which will intrigue them, that they want to know more about the team, about the product, about the company, if you don't do it in that 3 minutes, then that's pretty much it. They will not gonna go through that again or look at you again. So this is my experience, and so far we've been very good at with.
And when you think right now with all this pandemic and everything moved from like live, live, like in-person meetings to the I don't know, Zoom, Skype, whatnot. Even right now, what I'm doing with this podcast is like showing people that we can talk with anybody in the world right now. over the Zoom and present whatever we want, and that can help to somebody. So, in that vein, in that kind of regard, do you think that with this kind of a pandemic, we actually have a blessing in disguise that you can actually get to the VCs, angel investors, maybe even more easier because they will not need to fly from Dubai to Croatia to listen for a pitch about healthcare. They can actually just be on the Zoom meeting or like listening to one recording on some kind of podcast or some recording on kind of pitch deck. I don't know. Do you think that, I don't know, did you have any experience in the last year that you like wanted to present yourself and your company?
Well, so actually,
You know,
we've been on certain startup events,
beautiful.
which were like online pitches. Well, definitely communication technologies have exploded during this pandemic. So there's a lot of tools out there which
Mhm.
enable you to communicate either through video or, of course, logically, when you couldn't do live communication, you went online and you exploited all those platforms to communicate and send your message out there. But regarding investment, I don't actually change much. So basically, you have certain funds which work in a specific areas. And when all this pandemic started, they kind of closed. They become more conservative about their
Oh,
investment because
yeah.
nobody knew what to expect and what will happen because so many different types of businesses were kind of threatened by the whole situation. So they kind of closed in that manner. And whenever you are accepting
Mhm.
money from a foreign investor, they somehow want to protect their investments in a way that they ask from you to move your business to that particular area.
Yeah,
So that,
because of the
yeah,
legal stuff and everything.
yeah,
And this is
legal
important.
stuff.
And this is
Yeah.
important to say because there will be like young startups. I remember when we started with our startup, I'm a co-founder of one, and we like, okay, we just gonna go there. We also bootstrapped and everything. But when you get to that point when you need to have maybe investment from someone, especially if that someone is from foreign countries, you hit the wall that you didn't even know they're existing, especially right now when the whole world is a global village. But they ask you like, oh, would you move your business to this and that country? And you're like, well, we are still in the European Union. Okay, but why? And then you actually find out that it's a little bit different when somebody is investing and they're trying to be investor with a certain percentage in the company, right? It's not just easy. And it's maybe like easy for a startup to say, oh, you just give me money and I'll do whatever I'm doing and you will be a millionaire. But from their point of view, it's like, well, I'm giving you the money and I need to secure myself, you know. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
so it's it's not uncommon for an investor or a little fund from a startup to allocate their business from wherever the investment is coming from. So you have an example that a lot of Croatian companies opened up their offices, like in UK, for instance. While I don't know how will continue considering that UK is no longer a member of the
Yeah,
European Union. Then you have a
Brexit.
lot of
Yeah.
companies like in Ireland and of course the USA. So it's a pretty much standard model. So Croatian company receives investment from a fund or investor who is allocated in these specific countries, they will want from you to found a company in, let's say, London, Dublin, or I don't know, somewhere in USA, depending from location where is actual investment is coming from. So
Yeah, go to the Seychelles, open a
yes,
company there.
yeah, Canary Island, yes, yes, or Delaware. Delaware is always a good
Yeah,
option.
if you want to work in America, like I was surprised that even Coca-Cola, which is from Atlanta, has an office in Delaware because like in one building in Delaware, I think there is like 15,000, not 100,000 companies registered, because they're just a company that provides PO boxes for startups, and not just for startups, for actual companies. And because Delaware has this different regulation and that's beautiful about America, United States of America, because you have like this kind of laws and whatnot. If you want to go, this is my advice for anybody who want to work with the USA, business. And I think you have a great potential in Florida right now, because Florida is,
Yeah, we kind of discussed that that
yeah.
we should move to Florida now. Yeah, definitely. Like I will open a Miami office.
Yeah, Miami office, like, especially right now, because everybody's flocking there just for the retirement. Tina, thank you very much for this kind of insight in health, because when somebody's talking about startups, people always like light up the eyes and say, "Oh, there's a kind of software there. There's kind of a WhatsApp or Snapchat or whatnot, Facebook." Um, but they forget that there is actually so many other startups, from Tesla, who is in the cars, or all the way to Ogrivi from Croatia, who is in agriculture or agriculture, and even you as a silver monitor, who is in the healthcare for the elderly people. So for the end, do you have kind of advice for the would-be entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who are right now struggling and thinking like, should I do what I'm doing right now, due to the pandemic and everything? But like, even if there is a pandemic, it's still hard to have a startup right now. Do you have any kind of advice?
Well, well, now it's definitely there are strange times that we're living, and from economic perspective, nobody knows how will this all end, considering the impact the virus has had on global economy. However, if you're looking for the right moment, there will be never right moment. There is always going to be something that
Yeah.
might be some kind of risk for you. But the entrepreneurship, it is a risk in itself. So I would definitely suggest you to try it your own capacity, because if you don't try, believe me, you're gonna regret for the rest of your life. But I've got to tell you one thing, and I've experienced that if you really, really, and
Mm-hmm.
sincerely want to push your idea from idea stage to finalized product and then successful company, you will have to be very, very persistent. You will have to go through ups and downs and different kind of issues that you will have to face on an everyday level, and you have to be strong to endure through all these temptations. And it's going to be, it's a roller coaster. Everybody's going who's done a startup, they're going to tell you that it's like a roller coaster. You're up and down, you're up and down, then you kind of stand on one point. But in the end, to have that kind of luxury and opportunity to develop your own ideas, your own products, build your own company, and to actually have that kind of a freedom, I think that is definitely something that is worthwhile. And I wouldn't change this for anything. And I don't have any regrets to pursuing this particular path. So if you're a entrepreneur at the end of its journey, just do it. It's like Nike advertising. Just do it.
Just run with it.
Yeah, just do it.
Beautiful. I like this because, at the end of the day, it's like, on my deathbed, and when my silver monitor goes like beep, 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 did I regret anything in my life right now?
Well,
It will not go beep, beep, beep. Don't tell me that.
Yeah, it would just go flat,
Oh, okay.
the
Just
device would
be.
just go, yeah, it will
Maybe you
go.
wanna kind of put some kind of reassuring music, like over there, no, over the rainbow or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Over the
I don't know.
rainbow. Please
I don't
don't
know.
sing.
Yeah,
It's not
I'm
for
not.
you. Don't
Yeah,
sing.
I'm not gonna
It's
sing.
not a career path for you,
Yeah,
believe me.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Okay.
the voice is not for me. Okay, and thank you very much for this. Thank you to be here on the startup rant and talking about this incredible, like a health startup that, at least for me, I really think that this is something that can help people in the long run and people right now. And maybe in the future, in a few years or something, maybe in a few months or maybe in a few weeks, who knows what, we're gonna talk about some, you know, ups, not downs in the silver monitor life. Uh, Thank you, Tihana.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And I wish you all the best with your podcast, Startup Rant. You have my full support. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye.